Hi, I am Kedger on Two Wheels, and today I will attempt to answer a question I've never managed to actually see answered. And I've tried quite a lot. How to ride in the rain. So, when I was starting off, I was very worried about rain because, well, when you're in a car you can feel the wheel skid, but if you're on a bike and you feel the wheel skid, next thing you will be feeling is generally the pavement against your head. So I was very worried about riding in the rain. Actually, I still am. And I didn't know how to do it. I asked and no one could manage to explain, and now I understand why, because, sorry, the pavement's very wet, by the way, so this is actually rain riding, although it's not raining right now. But the reason why usually riders can't tell you or just give you a non-satisfactory answer, it is because that non-satisfactory answer is the answer. The way to ride in the rain is just ride the way you normally do, just slower, take some 10 or 20 kph straight off the top, so you go slower. You brake much softer with a longer leeway, and you accelerate more smoothly. Also, you don't do any odd inputs like jerking movements with the bike, like you could do in the dry to make some quick left rights. You don't. You go slower. Instead of going left right, you go like this: left, right. So you don't upset the tire. Good rain tires are extremely important. You try riding in the rain with a hyper sport, nearly slick tire, and it's not going to end well. It's going to end on the ground. Avoid, but get a good rain tire and just relax. This is the only part that no one ever told me, and this is the part I really wanted to get across. The main thing, the second main thing, apart from riding more smoothly, is relax. If you ride clamping onto the handlebars afraid, like you usually do and like you will do, and you will probably have done just recently or and you're going to do tomorrow, etc., don't. Just relax your hands. Remember, if you're reading this, you're probably a newish rider. If you're seeing this, you're probably a newish rider. And if you're a newish rider, your motorcycle knows how to ride better than you do at this point. So let it work. It knows what it's doing. It's like this: if you release it, it doesn't crash. It knows what it's doing. It corrects itself. So you don't really need to be grabbing onto the handlebars, notwithstanding whatever they told you during your motorcycle safety instruction or motorcycle safety test or whatever. No, you don't need to be handling it. Although it is wobbling a bit, and that's making me concerned. The only thing you need to do... Hey, look, another tracer, just like mine. The only thing you need to do is just touch it like this. I'm not sure if the camera can see it, but I'm just going like this. Just not hold on to the handlebars, just support the handlebars slightly. You act as a dampener. And when you do the turn, let it move around a bit. Don't clamp onto it. You don't need to grab the handlebars. You just need to be in contact with it and keep some pressure on it, so it's you riding, not the bike riding itself. But you must let the bike ride itself when it thinks it must. It will correct itself when for little small skids it will eventually do in the rain. It will correct itself over potholes, etc. You will feel it like moving around and jerking around. Just relax, let it ride by itself, and you'll be amazed at how much better it just handles. And this is true in the rain and in pavement. You shouldn't be holding on to the handlebars and preventing it from moving. The handlebars need to move around. If the front wheel goes over a slight bump, the handlebar will move and it'll be fine. Dude, can you please move over just a few inches? Porsche, thank you. Or not. Even going over these painted lines, which here are usually painted over so many times they get higher than the pavement by a few millimeters, it will move around. Just let it move around. More experienced riders, because they're more relaxed, they do this naturally. Some don't even realize they're actually doing this and just letting the bike move around. Others know this and will very likely agree, and they won't comment, or if you do, just comment below. But this is one of the tricks for riding in pavement in the dry and in the wet, which is just relax. The bike needs to move around. You can't just grab it and say, no, you're going to turn when I say. No, the bike will turn when the bike feels like it's time to turn. The bike will wobble, it will go left, right, very slightly. We're not talking about big direction changes. That's why you're grabbing onto the handlebars, to prevent those. There will be small direction changes, small corrections, and you have to let it do those movements, because if you try to clamp onto it, you'll feel it's wrong. Then riders come and say the bike just handles funny, it doesn't handle good, it's weird. Well, that's the reason. Relax, just let it move around. Other than that, it's the thing, you never go full throttle like this. If you want to go full throttle, you go softly. Let me see if I can do a small demo. Let's put it in second gear, slow down a bit. I'm going to go full throttle like an idiot, like this. If you noticed, the revs went up, but it didn't go anywhere, because I just broke traction instantly. That's why I stopped. In middle of traffic, doing this is a very bad idea. To do this, if you want to do it, you do it like this, much smoother. See? Don't jerk the throttle, go smooth. Although never jerking the throttle is also pretty good, a pretty good rule of thumb. But in the rain, you do it even smoother. If you want to accelerate, you're going to take your time telling the bike you want to accelerate. You go softly. If you want to brake, you don't clamp onto the brakes. You brake softly, more with the rear than with the front, much more than in the dry. Meaning, I was not clear, sorry. In the dry, you go like 80% braking power at the front and some 20 at the rear. And this is not up to discussion. The percentage may be, but the fact that you must brake more with the front tire than with the rear is not up to discussion. It's done like that on all bikes, and if you do it wrong, you're doing it wrong. Yes, this includes cruisers, although in cruisers, because of the different weight distribution, you can use a lot more of rear brake. Scooters too, but it's always more on the front than on the rear, for good braking, obviously, for some decent braking. But in the rain it's even more. It's like 60 front, 40 rear. And engine braking, because that helps brake and doesn't have that much of a danger of locking up the rear wheel. So that's the braking for you. Cornering, you do corner entrances much more smoothly. You never do it aggressively like you do in the dry, where you just lean the bike and go. Just go soft and go. And acceleration, I just demonstrated exactly why you can't just jerk the throttle, you have to do it smoothly. And that's just about it. Avoid deep puddles, because your bike is light and can float over the water, and that will result in an instant fall. Avoid flooded roads, because if you go into a flooded road, it's very likely that a sewer grate has floated off, and so there's a hole where you're not expecting, a gigantic hole, and you will crash and hurt yourself. And that's about it. Just try to keep it to the dry. There's a little trick you can use, is that if you follow a car like so, the way I'm doing, the car its tires, which are wider than yours, are removing most of the water from the pavement. So if you ride on that line, you're actually riding on less wet tarmac, which is good. On the other hand, if you've done karting, you know this, a track that's been rubbered in and then rains on, rubber plus water plus another set of rubber which is on the track is ridiculously slippery. So, but I like to ride on the track tire, on the front car's track tires, because it's less wet. That's about it. It's not rocket science. That's why no one can give you a good answer. The only two bits which are more important is do everything more smoothly, never be in a rush. You have to really drive like you're driving around Miss Daisy. Drive as if you have a very scared pillion. Very smoothly, brake smoothly, accelerate smoothly, turn smoothly and slower, and relax and let the bike move around. You can actually ride the bike like this if you want. Not in the rain, obviously, but the bike is perfectly rideable just like this. So you don't have to hold on to the handlebars. That's wrong. Just touch them. You're in control, but they have to be able to move slightly if they want. Okay, yeah, so that's it. How to ride in the rain. I know that's not the answer you were looking, but that is the answer, unfortunately. There's no big magic trick. It's just that, slower and relaxed. That's it. Okay, you're out.